Alright guys, here's a little update on the Baja. We ran into a couple of issues with the rear end. We couldn't use the subframe on the version 7 STI, so we ended up having to use the Baja subframe, do the R180 and the hybrid axles down to the knuckles, so we have to keep the stock knuckles. And we want to run the Brembos. We already had the wheels to clear it. We have the Brembos. They're stripped, ready to go. And we had the rotors. So we just had to make it happen. And so the big issue is these are, this is the version 7 STI knuckle, and the backing plate kind of sits in there. You gotta press this part out to get this backing plate out. And that's like a whole piece. And the Baja has this little unit bearing, and the knuckle sits there, and it has bolts that bolt on this little guy. It has a little groove. And the holes are very specific to fit this unit bearing, and then this bolts to the knuckles, and everything fits to that. So the big issue is when you try to put this on there. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a big difference in that. And not only that, the bolt holes don't even line up. So I was doing some thinking, and the only way to do that is to marry the center section of this hub to the center section of the STI hub, so we can fit the Brembos. And so here's the part that I cut out that I needed, because I just needed the bolt holes in the center section to hold the unit bearing. And I cut a little section out of the STI one, and this is the finished product. So what this gen does is it allows me to use this unit bearing to go in there. It'll bolt up to the knuckle. I use the STI ebrake assembly, and then once that's all together, the STI rotor goes on, and this is the part that fits the Brembo, because the bolt holes are closer together. If you try to put the Brembos on the on this, I mean, there's a huge difference there. Let's put it the right way. There's like probably an inch difference between that Brembo actually making contact. So here we have the Baja unit bearing. It goes straight in here now because I used the center section. Whoops. Nice tight fit, as it should be. All right. So now we have the unit bearing in the STI backing plate. Then we can put our rotor on. So there we go. Baja unit bearing that will bolt to the knuckle of the Baja with the STI ebrake, STI rotor, and STI Brembo. Oops. Oh, bolt's wrong. We'll use the other one. There we go. An STI Brembo. These are going to be painted, and it'll all fit. It'll work. So I don't know how many other people have done Brembo brakes on the back of a Baja. I haven't seen one yet. So this may be the first one. We'll see. But I've engineered a solution, and it'll work. So I'm going to clean these up a little more, paint it, and this one needs to be straightened out before I do the same thing to this. And then we'll have two Brembo STI rotor accepting hubs and bearings, and it's going to help bring this Baja to a stop, because we're going to need it, because this motor should put out some serious power. So, all right, so that's our update. Next time you see these hubs, they'll be painted and converted and ready to go on the Baja. Awesome, let's do this.